In regards to the recent developments of the implementation and the restriction of the Astra Zeneca vaccine that is due to something known as a medical condition called deep vein thrombosis from the blood clots of platelets aggregation, I want to provide my hypothesis on the surrounding that the vaccine is safe and efficacious, as the vaccine is made from insertions of chimpanzees' DNA, is taken from the trans DNA and made to make the spike protein. So in regards to the vaccine, is individuals suppressed to forms of side effects known as inflammations on the arm or swollen arms, or lack of fatigue, because this is when the viral object or antigen enters the endothelium of our cells or inside the body, adapters an innate immune response, the B cells known as the B cells, will immediately recognize such foreign object. And this was created so specialist scientists has created this vaccine using chimpanzee DNA, which is rendered and to modified another virus known as the adenovirus, which is stipulated and biologically engineered and modified to create the S spike protein of the epitope on which the neutralizing antibodies can engage and attack. And during when the vaccine is impregnated inside our bodies, the immune system would react, because this is something similar to the construction and the composition of the genomic structure of the authentic COVID 2019 antigen virus, which is attacking our body, and the body recognizes this, and something there's known as an over-inflammatory cytokine response due to the B cells causing the T cells to attack the foreign object that attacks, and this causes something known as an over-inflammatory cytokine inflammation, and the inflammation increases things associated with thrombosis and platelet aggregation due to vasoconstrictions, like the narrowing of blood capillaries in our organ in the endotheliums of the cells in our lungs, which attacks us. And this is due to known as a pro-inflammatory platelet EGCF growth factor, which can be suppressed because the ACE2, because the virus, similar to the authentic COVID, attacks and engages in the similar way on attacking the angiotensin converting enzyme ACE2 enzyme. And so due to this upregulates the vasoconstriction and vasodilation, which causes something known as affects the COX1 and COX2 upregulations of prostaglandin release, which causes platelet aggregation, thrombosis, and vasodilation or constriction. So to suppress this, they utilize something known as non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, as either aspirin, or aspirin blocks something known as COX1 and COX2 cyclogenesis associated with andronic acid release, which causes prostaglandin or prostaglandin, and this prostaglandin reduces or anticoagulants known as blood thinners, and aspirin known as blood thinners, or there's something known as dark chocolate cocoa, which has high flavonoids and is antitoxin and causes. This is associated with something known as oxidative stress as well, due to its inflammatory response. So to reduce this, I would instigate the hypothesis of utilizing aspirin or blood thinners to or anticoagulants that suppress this, blocks the COX2, which associates with thrombosis and platelet aggregation. And platelet aggregation is called blood clots. Platelet aggregation is known as the TF2 factor associated with blood clots. So instigating on the ibuprofen utilization or aspirin utilization, because the aspirin acts as a mechanism that blocks the COX1 associated, because due to the engagement of the COVID 2019, from my analysis and my observation, is individual has taken this vaccine, and from observation she only had forms of nausea, and there was form of nausea and weakness, but this is due to the adaptive immune response responding to the antigen in the antigen virus inside our bodies, on which this vaccine has been analysed by scientists of collaboration between Astra Zeneca and Oxford University in the deployment of vaccine through various clinical trials, from the testing phase to the deployment phase, and it's safe by the NSAID as well regulations. And I think my hypothesis is due to the immune response attacking our bodies. The overreactive cytokine storm, which is associated with overreactive, causes inflammatories, and I believe this can be suppressed by either ibuprofen, aspirin, or blood thinners, or known as cocoa, or high flavonoids known as cocoa or dark chocolate. So I believe after the vaccination, taking some of this supplement before or after the intervention will suppress the chance and the expectations of an individual patient experiencing some form of anticoagulation, from known as blood clots and known as DPV, deep vein thrombosis, and due to blood clots. So restrictions on blood clots is the utilizations of non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, because due to the mechanism that associates with, because when this blocks the COX1 and COX2 is associated with the bromophene and bromophene, and the release that associated with vasoconstriction and vasodilation. Vasodilation is associated with known as a hormone called prostaglandin release, which causes vasodilation, and dilation causes narrowing of blood capillaries, but the thrombosis is associated with vasoconstriction. So this has another effect on narrowing capillaries associated with articular cardiac arrest, and results in restrictions of blood supply to the body, and is known as another form called nosothrombosis due to platelets aggregation, because this is associated with platelets aggregation and epidermis growth factor release from the cytokine. So I believe that this efficaciously blocks this the utilization of aspirin or anti-inflammatories or blood thinners, as high flavonoids of cocoa can restrict this possibility of occurring. From my hypothetical and scientific response and research into COVID 2019, as COVID 2019 engages with the ACE2, the distribution of the cells and the endothelium of the sodium, which engages in the epitope of the S-spike protein. So this, because the vaccine can efficaciously neutralize the S-spike protein by causing cell-mediated cytosis or chemokines that produces chemicals that blocks this viral replication or viral entry into the endothelium. I believe that AstraZeneca, Oxford vaccine, and other vaccines will be safe, but monitoring this supposedly is due to the utilization of aspirin or paracetamol or ibuprofen for individuals on the vulnerable age category, and the demographics from the inspections of scientific research and scientific further investigation is needed to understand the reasons why. Thank you.